elephant, leopard, rhinoceros, and buffalo. These are Africa's Big Five. For centuries they were coveted hunting trophies of kings and the super rich, but now they're protected and the decimated stock is slowly recovering. Nature reserves play an important role here, especially the Great Limpopo Transfrontier Park in East Africa. The Kruger National Park is part of this. It's spring in the jungle. While Jack Frost has Europe in his icy grip, the bush is slowly growing green. The Big Five live in the so-called Bushveld, the section of the jungle in which low trees and shrubs dominate. Africa's 5 largest wild animals are the symbol of the Black Continent's fauna. The reason why hundreds of thousands of nature lovers go on safari. Particular focus is on the lions and elephants. The pachyderms are on the list of endangered animals. Mankind's relentless greed for ivory has almost entirely exterminated the herds of the savannah. Tens of thousands of animals were killed for their tusks. Senseless killing for Europeans' luxuries and living room decorations. It was only when several African states agreed on a restrictive protection policy with draconian punishments that the killing of elephants finally became prohibited. Thanks to this, the last remaining African elephants were saved from extinction. During the past few years, the elephant stocks in Africa have increased, and herds of around 20 animals, even in the bush, are now the norm again. In fact, in some areas, there is even talk of an elephant plague. This statement caused uproar amongst animal rights activists and the experts to shake their heads in disbelief. Elephants are the world's largest land animals. They are related to the mastodons and the mammoths of the prehistoric era. In those times, these super heavyweights could be found all over the world. Today, elephants live only in Asia and Africa. On average, elephants weigh around 6.3 tons, eat roughly 150 kilograms of plants, and drink somewhere in the region of 160 liters of water. It takes an elephant about 18 to 24 hours to absorb these quantities and often travels long distances while doing so. A jungle patrol like this leads to the ruthless destruction of small trees and plants, but conservationists see this as a chance for small plants and animals to thrive in the jungle ecosystem. Elephants live in families whereby the matriarchy prevails. An old cow leads the group of cows and their young. Bulls only join the cows during the mating season. Otherwise, they live alone or in bachelor groups, separated from the rest of the herd. The fact that the fences have been removed in the Great Limpopo Transfrontier National Park is of great benefit to the elephants, as these can now return to wander freely along the traditional routes through the African jungle and the savannas. A warthog grazing at the edge of the savannah. Due to its similarity to the European wild boar, it is easy to forget that one is in Africa. The color of the savannah changes in the spring too, from brown to green. Here, on the edge of the Bushveld, is the kingdom of the African buffalo. In Africa, the black giants are the wild animals registered to have had the most fatal encounters with humans. They are considered to be the most dangerous of all wild animals in Africa. Their horns, which can weigh as much as 40 kilograms, are weapons that demand respect, feared also by lions and leopards. When one observes the black colossi lazily resting in the shade of a tree, it is hard to believe how dangerous they are. They remind us more of domestic cows, or at best a Spanish fighting bull. But then again, no one wants to be confronted in the wild by one of those either. The buffaloes also benefit greatly from the Great Limpopo Transfrontier National Park. Buffaloes live in herds for many years in the same hunting ground and wander through it using fixed routes. These territories are very large and as a rule also have a waterhole. The herds often have to travel long distances from the grasslands to the drinking points, as the animals have to drink once or twice a day, irrespective of the food situation. Aridity therefore makes life very difficult for them. The herds consist primarily of cows and their young. The bulls only join the herds exclusively during the mating season. A large expansion of the genetic pool is especially noticeable in the case of the African buffalo. Inbreeding, which used to occur quite often, is now virtually non-existent. A new generation of lions. Playfully, the cubs cuddle up to their mother, who is only really interested in taking an afternoon nap. Patiently, the lioness enjoys the loving caresses, a sign of an intact lion family with strong, dominant lions. The animals are at ease, as their protector is seated firmly in the saddle. There is no threat of a power struggle, and the youngsters are safe from infanticide. Lions live in prides of up to 30 animals. The pride consists of several dominant lions and females with their cubs. Lions enjoy an intact family life. The young are cared for and protected by all female members. They remain with their mothers until the age of around 2. When the male cubs become sexually mature, they are expelled from the pride. Females spend their entire lives in the pride in which they were born. This lion pride has made itself comfortable in the shade of a tree on the provisional bush road. They are still tired after the previous night's hunt. Lions hunt, led by the female leader at night and in the early morning. They spend the rest of the day dozing in the shadow of bushes and trees. Bush roads are welcome resting places. Here, the ground is pleasantly warm, in comparison to the surrounding grass, and the view unobstructed by bushes or trees. A young lioness has discovered something. She moves to a more strategic position from where she can see both the road and her young. This is also how lions claim leadership in the pride, but she has to wait a few years for that. When the animals discover our camera, they are initially skeptical, but curiosity gets the better of them. Hesitantly at first, then increasingly bolder, especially the youngsters, inspect the camera more closely. But even the leader makes sure that danger for her young isn't lurking behind the apparatus. Her almost vertical tail indicates extreme tension. The excitement is over after a few seconds, and we're able to shoot some unique footage of lions in the wild in 3D. Let's remain for a while with our lion casting in 3D. Sit back and enjoy the unique images. After a short time, the interest in our camera subsides. The lion pride resumes its favorite pastime, dozing. The undergrowth of the bushveld by the roadside provides the ideal cover. They're all asleep. Only one keeps watch. That's how they do business here, and this young lioness has already identified a dish for the next shopping tour. Every now and then, a pride manages to kill a giraffe, which means meat enough for a whole week. Vultures and hyenas also get their share. Anyone who has experienced the special sounds of the jungle will never forget them. Despite the noise levels, visitors fall into a deep serenity and inner balance. For more than 50 million years ago, the direct ancestors of today's rhinos lived widespread throughout the world. They survived 3 major climatic disasters and the drifting apart of the continents. Rhinos are and were a prime example of the theory of evolution and were able to adapt perfectly to the constantly changing living conditions. The white rhinoceros is one of the most endangered species on Earth. Fewer than 15,000 wild rhinos live in Africa, and in Asia there are no more than 3,000. Africa has major problems in regard to the poaching of rhinos. The reason is the characteristic feature of the animals, the horn. The rhinos use the horn to plough the ground, to stack manure as a signpost, and for their own and their offspring's defense. The 2 horns of the rhino contain keratin. Especially in Asian medicine, the horn is considered to be a miracle cure. This is why poachers hunt rhinos to this day. A poacher can earn enough to feed his family for an entire month on just 1 horn. Today, the rhino is the world's 3rd largest land mammal. Only the Asian and the African elephant are bigger and heavier. The massive body of the rhinoceros stands on 4 sturdy legs. A fully grown rhino can weigh as much as 3,600 kilos. The shy animals live in firmly enclosed areas. The borders of these areas are marked with feces and urine. On the whole, white rhinos are peaceful animals, but when attacking, they can move at speeds of up to 45 kilometers per hour. When considering their weight, it is clear why a rhino attack is always a matter of life or death. The animals spend most of the day searching for food. White rhinos subsist exclusively on plants, which they pluck with their broad lips. Each animal needs up to 150 kilos of forage to be able to survive. Rhinos find a richly laid table on clearings in the bush. In the spring especially, the leaves of low-growing trees and shrubs are juicy and rich in protein. Rhinos satisfy their fluid requirements mostly from food. Similar to the dromedary, rhinos ferment their food and subsequently draw liquid out of leaves and grasses. This works perfectly, despite the size and the weight of a rhino, as this image shows. This young rhino cow will excrete around 20 liters of urine before moving on. A rare sight and a highlight too for all nature lovers is an encounter like this with one of the last representatives of a species which may soon no longer be found on the planet. Something is different today in this leopard preserve. He already perceived strange odors in the night, and this morning his hormones are going haywire. The leopard wanders aimlessly through his territory with the fragrance of a leopard lady in his nose. She is in heat and is also roaming through his hunting ground. Leopards can attain lengths of up to 1.60 meters and can weigh between 45 and 60 kilos. The big cats are among the most elegant predators, and for short periods they can reach speeds of up to 60 kilometers per hour. The leopard man cannot even consider finding sleep today, so he sets off in search of the lady. In doing so, he roams through his almost 96 square kilometer territory. While the love-struck leopard searches for the female, she fortifies herself at a waterhole. Here too, she releases scent hormones with which to attract the male. In addition, she wallows in the territorial scent of the male. This is the perfumed signal for the male to step up his search for the object of his desire. While on his way, the male leopard attends to his morning bathroom ritual, including sharpening his claws and cleaning his beard. Leopards are cats after all, and they value an extensive wash and brush up. On the odd occasion, this can quite easily take a little more time. Freshly blow-dried, the male emerges stylishly from the undergrowth and finally spots the young lady. No time for hesitation, and never forgetting to mark his territory, otherwise he could have problems with his neighbors. The emitted scents have brought the two animals together. Similar to the way perfume can stimulate the sex drive of humans, the scent hormone of the female leopard, willing to copulate, attracts the male. At last, the couple have found one another. Peacefully, they both slip off into the undergrowth. Normally, the leopardess doesn't tolerate her male counterparts in her vicinity. In the mating season, a leopard couple usually only spends between 5 and 9 days together before going their separate ways. These images are a rarity. A pair of leopards copulating has never been filmed in 3D before. But it doesn't seem to be working. The lady is dissatisfied with her partner's performance. He has to try again. The two animals have sex up to 20 times a day together. Should the leopardess not fall pregnant, she is in heat again in 25 days, and the game is begun anew. Just when the going is good, it's all over. But Mr. Leopard is not amused at all. Enough fun for one day. The leopard lady turns once on her own axis, and the pair of them go on their own separate ways. After around 90 to 105 days of pregnancy, the leopardess brings 4 500-gram heavy babies to the world. There is no typical time of birth for leopards. Science assumes that the reproduction of leopards varies according to the availability of prey. This is why the birth times of their offspring is often on a parallel with that of the impalas, the main prey of leopards in the Limpopo National Park. Impalas grazing in a clearing in the middle of the bushveld. The fast flight animals find protection here from their predators, lions and leopards. Impalas belong to the species cattle. They are in fact distant relatives of the domestic cattle we know from the cowshed. Impalas live in the open savanna on the perimeter of the bushveld, which provides cover for them. The reddish-brown animals always live in herds together, whereby 100 animals are no rarity. This reduces the risk from predators. Whenever the herd grazes, one of the animals stands guard, watching every movement in the vicinity. When danger looms, he emits a short cry, and the entire herd hastily leaves the area. As a rule, impalas can become 1.5 meters tall and weigh up to 50 kilos. Their shoulder height is around 1 meter. When on the run, impalas can reach high speeds and can jump up to 9 meters. When faced with farm fences, they can jump heights of up to 3 meters. For this reason, they are often mistaken for antelopes. However, when on the run, impalas usually look for cover, rather than relying on their speed. Part of their defense strategy when being chased by animals such as the African wild dog is to execute leaps, so-called pronking or stotting, whereby all 4 legs of the antelope leave the ground. A rare rain spider nest. She spins the nest by interlacing the chrysalises, thereby protecting them from predators. Apart from these spiders, a further 153 species live in the Kruger National Park. Dusk in Africa has a special mysticism. Within the shortest space of time, daylight simply disappears, usually accompanied by an incredible blaze of color. A lion family resting on the road. A strange ambience in the glare of our Jeep's headlamps. The big cats ignore our presence for now, but they are substantially livelier than during the day. A young lion, about 3 years old. He is protected from the dominant lions by the lionesses. Soon, it will be time for him to leave the pack and search for his own territory. Hygiene is also very important for the lions. Like all other cats, lions keep themselves exceptionally clean. They spend every stop they make cleaning themselves. Soon, Tiredness overcomes the lions, and it's now time for us too to bring the day to an end. A new day in the African bush. We are on the lookout for a large group of lions, allegedly led by a capital male lion. En route, we once again encounter the jungle patrol. A herd of elephants is on its way to a waterhole. But on arrival, the water is not enough to quench the thirst of all of the animals. Therefore, the herd moves on. We follow them, curious as to how the lead cow will solve the water problem, and are quite surprised. She leads them to the old pool of an uninhabited lodge, where the animals amuse themselves by squirting water and quenching their thirst at the same time. Then they're off. The pool is still intact. We notice an impala, which has been separated from the pack. This is unusual, as only the herd can offer the animal sufficient protection from predators, such as lions, wild dogs, and leopards. The restlessness of the animal is odd. It keeps on lying down, and then we see it. The amniotic sac of the animal bursts, and we are witnesses to the birth of an impala. We keep our fingers crossed, as the mother is defenseless and entirely at the mercy of nature. disappears into the bush, and we can just about see that the calf is almost half of the way out. As we cautiously approach, the impala baby sees the light of day for the first time. The mother immediately begins to lovingly lick the calf, thus getting the circulation going. The mother eats the placenta and the amniotic sac. This prevents predators from picking up the scent of the newborn animal. Now, it is a question of whether the young calf can survive in the bush. It has to get up and stand on its own legs as soon as possible. The mother supports the little one with licks of encouragement. And then it stands. But its legs fail and it falls down again. Another attempt. It works better this time. The impala calf stands up and butts the mother's udders fiercely, which initiates the flow of milk. This is absolutely vital for the young animal. Mother and child leave the place of birth. The calf will spend 3 days in hiding in the undergrowth before it returns to the herd together with its mother. Only then can we be certain that we will also be allowed to experience the beginning of a life in the African jungle. We continue our trek, past a gigantic termite mound. Up to 7 million animals live in this building, which, due to its construction, keeps the animals within pleasantly cool. Air ducts and tunnels ensure a chimney effect, which is almost identical to a natural air conditioning unit. we encounter a pride of lions. Hidden away in the undergrowth, we almost didn't see them. Cubs and lionesses lie in the shade of the bushes. The pride consists of more than 20 animals. This is unusual, but points to an extraordinarily strong and dominating lion. Our presumptions are confirmed. Beneath a tree, the king of the jungle is taking a nap, stretched out and bloated. This lion is new to the area. The rangers have noted a movement of lions from east to west. Strong young lions expel the old dominant lions and take over the pride. It doesn't look good for the old lions and their offspring, because the new boss of the pride immediately kills all of the descendants of the old territorial chief. The migration of the lions causes unrest in the national park. The cards are reshuffled, and sometimes territorial scuffles are unavoidable. At the moment, this doesn't seem to be the case. The pride appears relaxed, and we can approach the animals with our camera to within a few meters. These extraordinary images are the result. It is worth noting that here too, an old lioness inspects the camera first, before the young approach. It seems as though a clear hierarchy is observed, to which all animals comply. Meanwhile, the lion keeps tabs on the events taking place around him and registers that something is there which doesn't belong on his territory. After all of the cats have satisfied their curiosity, the pride continues on its journey without paying any further attention to the camera. Spring in the African bush is a time of plenty. Following the long-awaited rainfall, even the smallest waterholes have become lakes. Also here, in the driest section of the Kruger National Park, green is on the advance. Bushgrass is sprouting and mopani trees begin to bud. Even the bare trees typical of this landscape become platforms for birds' nests. In the immediate vicinity, a rare meeting of large animals takes place. A buffalo encounters a male elephant. Both have been separated from their respective herds and thus destined to become prey for the big hunters of the savannah. Until this happens, they will travel alone through the bush. The elephant from waterhole to waterhole, several kilometers annually. An African buffalo has an imposing appearance. A bull has an average weight of 630 kilos and a floor height of 1.70 meters, making him larger than the average adult horse. Once this body mass is on the move, it is almost impossible to stop. The impact with which a buffalo rams an opponent during a territorial battle is equivalent to the collision of a car traveling at 50 kilometers per hour with a stationary obstacle. While calves are covered with dense hair, this becomes increasingly more sparse the older they become, and older animals are almost naked. The horn of the buffalo, which both genders have at their disposal, is its most powerful weapon. In the case of a bull, the horns are connected via the bone plate, which rests firmly on the cranial bone. The curved and sharp-tipped horns are so heavy that they are bent downwards. The ears are located beneath the horns. This little bird is an oxpecker. It feeds on insects and their larvae. To this end, oxpeckers enter into a partnership with large wild animals. The deal is cleanliness for transport. The oxpeckers search through the fur of the animals that they occupy for parasites and remove them with their strong beaks. They also warn their hosts of approaching predators. Unfortunately, in recent years, an insidious disease has spread throughout the buffalo stock of the Limpopo National Park. Many buffaloes suffer from the cattle tuberculosis. It is highly contagious and spreads like the plague among the animal population of the park. The rangers and physicians are powerless. There is no present cure for the disease, which has led those responsible to adhere to the principles of the park by giving nature free rein, a new and brutal dimension. Africa and the Big Five. A story full of misunderstandings and offences against the larger animals of the jungles and savannas. Thanks is owed to the founder of the Kruger National Park, Charles Kruger, and major landowners of institutions such as reserves like Sabi Sands, that the biodiversity of the Black Continent has been preserved. Because nature and ultimately the human race can only survive when an entire food chain remains intact. This realization is also slowly asserting itself in Africa. People are beginning to understand that a live animal is more profitable than a dead one. And this is good, so that our children and children's children can continue to walk on the trail of the Big Five in Africa.